My brother wanted me to ask you real quick about he figured you would know this guy. Apparently, there's a guy he's reading that influenced Orwell's 1984, who's a Russian guy, and the novel's called We.
E.
You've heard of it?
Evgeny Zemyatin, the
Oh
guy's
my
name.
God. I knew you would have heard of him. And
Yeah,
my
yeah,
brother,
yeah. I read we a long time ago. It was great.
he's
Yeah,
reading it now, and he said
yeah,
it's pretty great.
it's really cool. And it's like, yeah, guess it was a big influence, and I guess it's sort of maybe early. I don't know, is it like 19?
He said it was the 20s, I think,
Yeah, I guess it's right after the revolution,
30s.
and it's got this kind of like Soviet. I don't know because it seems very kind of issuing a warning about sort of communism rather than, I mean, I don't know whether it was subversive or not, but it's like it also has this real quality of kind of like that. It feels like those kind of futurist
Oh,
paintings and poets, and those kind of like Russian and Italian, but the like Russian futurists and
oh yeah.
those who did those kind of like you know what I mean, the kind of almost like cubist vorticist
Yeah.
futurists,
Yeah.
like it feels like it's a product of that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he said it was that it he doesn't like it's a warning, but he says it sort of takes place in the future in a way that allows him to not implicate the
Right.
Bolshevik revolution directly. It's kind of indirectly implied or something.
Yeah. That's always confusing to me with that stuff, is how those guys got away with that stuff. And like how much, you know what I mean? Like why some of them seem to get away with more than others did. And
Yeah.
it's
I
so
like this
hard.
guy. Did you read this guy, this Chinese science fiction writer that did the three body problem? We were
That's
talking about him.
not the problem. Didn't read the other ones. I
How did
read
he get away with that? Like he's criticizing the party and shit.
right. It's really weird how they sort of let some of these people do a little. I mean, is it that they recognize that somebody is like sufficiently enough of like a really gifted person that they're like, well, we really ought to let this guy, you know,
Maybe.
I will be so. Because I always wondered with like, although Tarkovsky's movies were not particularly critical of, but like, how did somebody like that make the movies that he made? But he's not actually, I guess he's not, he's never really overtly critical of.
Yeah, it's like implied.
Yeah, I guess so. That's always confusing to me, those guys. And a lot of the literature too. I've still never read. I've tried to read that Master and Margarita book. Like it's one of those books.
I
You ever
haven't
read
read it. No,
Master and Margarita? Bulgakov.
no,
It's
I've heard of it. I don't.
like, yeah, I've tried that. For some reason I can never get past the same point with the book. It's good, and then I never finish it. I've started like
Really?
15 times. Yeah, and I always put it down, and then I never get beyond the point that I get
Is
to.
there like a specific quality to it, or you're just like, eh?
Yeah, no, it's cool. I really like it too. It's very sort of like surreal and strange. It's like a talk. It's this kind of satire again, but I think that actually was something that was underground,
Okay.
that was passed around underground as a piece of work, and then at some point it went above ground and was published eventually. But it's sort of Stalin era, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, and there's like a talking cat in it, and then like it's all
Oh, I've heard you mention that before. Yeah, the
very
talking
very
cat. Yeah.
surreal. And there's all this weird stuff in the past with Pontius Pilate. It like shifts back into the past and all that. It's cool. It's really cool, but I just never finish it. I
I
don't
was
know.
thinking about this other guy you recommended, Legati. Am I think is it Legati? Thomas Legati?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so I have something by him, and then I he came up again, and I was like, oh, that's the guy that Paul has
yeah.
recommended. But he,
It's like a big it's like an anti-natalist guy. He's like a, or at least he's like a proponent of ideas like that.
but he's alive, right? Like he's a contemporary. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's very mysterious. I
Oh,
think
okay. Like a Pynchon character,
what's that?
like a Thomas Pynchon kind of.
So yeah, like it's very like he doesn't publish very much, and he's very kind of like
Oh,
down in his weird bungalow in Florida or something. I mean, it's like I just don't think people like see him much, and seems like it. I think he's got this mystique like that.
okay.
Yeah,
Is it like the wishful thinking is so intense? I'm just
yeah,
trying to think of a situation where you just all your critical powers of you know,
Yeah,
skepticism are out the window.
that's exactly what it is. And it's like it's a kind of toxic optimism.
Yeah, toxic
It's
optimism.
like this pathological level of optimism in the sense you have to have it to be able to
Yeah,
do stuff, which is why I'm not actually very good at it. It's like because I'm just like, oh, come on.
you're
This
too
is
pessimistic or
I have to have this
skeptical.
strange, yeah, kind of implacable optimism that's just
I
almost
noticed that about the little contact I've had with Hollywood, through you, but also through my brother. There's this kind of like everyone's ramping each other up, like this is gonna be the
biggest thing ever. And you're just like, and I have an immediate reaction against that too. I'm just, well, clearly it's not going to be the biggest thing ever. It's just like I have immediate reaction. But yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah. But immediately I was like, oh, come on. You got to be out of your minds, guys. I mean, it's like, look at this fucking guy. It's like, it's just like, come on. So strange. It's a gambler mentality, but it's also culty. It's kind of
yeah.
cult thinking. It's sort of I remember doing something. I think I've said this to you before. I was like Stockholm syndrome became a very useful
Yeah, you have
thing.
said that.
But there's a kind of Stockholm syndrome too, where whoever your character is, which tends to be like a movie studio or a producer or something, every a certain or whatever. While you're filming the thing, it's the directors and the producers. Everybody just starts going, "This is that. This is
Yeah.
going great. This is really great." No, you know what? Actually, this is really great. You know what I mean? You just start identifying with your captor. Just telling you that everything's great. But I feel like that's a useful thing in so many walks of life.
Yeah, it
And
is. But nothing, even good shit wouldn't get done without some of this. You know what I mean? Like
right.
you wouldn't get art done. I'd never write a book if I didn't have a ridiculously over optimistic sense of how much work. Oh yeah, I can fit this in like a couple hours a week, and then
Well,
it's just
right.
like, you know,
Right, you're right. Nothing would get done if you
yeah.
didn't this kind of like
The Sistine Chapel ceiling was probably like, oh yeah, I can do
I
that.
would no, you're right. You wouldn't get your books written. I wouldn't think I think about it sometimes and I'm like I'm sometimes amazed at the level of just kind of blind faith I had and just like, yeah, I'll work as an actor. Like it didn't occur to me I wouldn't. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, at some part of me there was a fear, but it's interesting. There was some kind of animal thing, just like boom, just go, just do it. You're right. And
If
nothing,
you like, if you knew too much, you'd be too wary and
yeah, it's almost got worse as I went along,
yeah.
actually. The more I knew about what was going on, the more I was like, oh my God, this isn't gonna work out. You know what I mean? Like I'm crazy. I look at it now and go like, what the fuck was I thinking?
How did that work out?
Yeah, how the fuck did all that? Yeah, it's just really interesting. It's like, how the hell did all of that work out? It's interesting. It's really
It's
interesting.
not over. You could crash and burn so horribly still.
Totally. You still can. In my business, you totally can. I mean, you wash out completely. And it's like, end up
You're not
making
on the love boat yet, man.
not on the love boat yet. I mean, it's interesting. What is the equivalent of the love boat now? I don't really know. Is there an equivalent of the love boat now? Not really.
I can just give back this same energy to this motherfucker.
And go fuck himself. It's true. And it was great what you said. It was really just like, it's true. There has been something very freeing about that.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
What are they thinking? I guess people just it reminds me of my students too. My students talk and I'm like, how did you feel like this was an appropriate thing to say to me? Like it's amazing. Like it's just weird.
It is
It's
interesting. The
weird.
level of, yeah, the weird freedom to just like unload on
You get
people.
a lot of that too, right?
Oh yeah, I get it all the fuck. I mean, people unloading on me all the time, or just saying the most offensive things right to my
Yeah.
face. And
I
like, yeah,
hated
it's
you in that one part. You really you must like, you're like,
oh
what
no,
the
it's
fuck?
astonishing. People just be like, "Oh, you look, oh, you look terrible. You look like shit. Oh, you're not as ugly as you look." And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. Japan was really great. One thing I noticed, I don't know whether you saw this when you were there, but I was walking in the underground there are these like subway labyrinths, but they're very nice. They're like very clean and like well designed and well lit. But there's like thousands of people moving in these subway areas. And we were walking through like, and it must have been close to the time when the last trains go out to the suburbs, so that to bring the company men back to their wives and stuff. Everybody was wasted drunk.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah,
It was crazy.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I saw people like as drunk as I've ever seen people.
My God.
Like I've been in like Ireland or something or Scotland. It's like I mean I've seen people like they were just I mean people just on the floor on the sidewalk just
Yeah,
hammering.
I wasn't ready for it. I was surprised.
Definitely intense in the culture. I went to some restaurant with a guy that I met up with who was a cousin of a friend of mine, and we he took me out to a meal somewhere, and it was filled with all those guys. Like, oh my god, and just getting progressively more and more destroyed. It was just unbelievable. Have you ever seen that movie, Ikiru? Have you ever seen Ikiru?
Yes, and they're getting wasted at the
That
funeral.
great scene at the memorial service for the guy that goes on forever, and they just get more and more wasted.
Yeah, and then other people come in and they're like,
It's such a great scene, and they start getting crying and yelling at each other, and like it's really great. It's a great fucking
yeah, it's like this big moral reckoning. Like,
yeah,
right? It's crazy.
yeah.
Great movie.
Interesting. They really do. They really do cut loose in a crazy, crazy way. I mean, everything happened in the 18th
A
century. So
lot of shit.
fucking happens in the
Yeah,
18th century. Like so transformational. Like such a hugely important, right? It's
it's
like
true.
the Enlightenment thing, all
Yeah,
of that sort of like, and the sort of the rise of kind of reason, and then this idea of the kind of like the individual and this whole
yeah,
questioning of what's original, what's the create, but this also claim on like it makes sense that this is my thing and not, and kind of then reducing down the ideas of works of art as being like in somebody's possession or
yeah,
not or stuff like this, the very reasonable aspects of it, and the kind of like focusing in on kind of the individual. But it was like a kind of map of development of consciousness in some way too, like
yes,
changes in sort of consciousness. I just thought, what a really kind of fascinating map of like the individual and the individual mind and the individual imagination.
yes.
It was really cool.
It's very cool.
I'd never thought of copyright as having any, it was just, but it was like this map of like consciousness. It was really cool.
Yeah, because I know one of the things they said, which just really struck me too, was that the copyright debate was a large um, part of what defined who is it, what is an author, like
Right.
who is a creator, and they were talking about Shakespeare as there was a debate like, well, he's not really an author because he's recycling these old narratives, which is crazy because
Right.
he's obviously in creating all this language, but that's a really interesting debate.
And then as the 18th century is weird to me too, because it's like, because at the same time, there's this very weird kind of like occult side to it,
Yeah.
or like at the flip side of it begins to like enter into this whole idea of kind of psychology and sort of like unconsciousness and the kind of occult world of the unconscious and right, and then you have all this weird, all these fucking alchemists and shit.
Totally. Yeah.
Like what the fuck was it to be an artist before all of that? Like
Yeah.
what because these kind of notions of the individual and the individual artist and the individual imagination, this romanticizing of it didn't exist before that.
That's right. That's
We
exactly right.
only see it retroactively, but what the fuck was it like before that? Like, what was it like with Shakespeare? I think somebody like Shakespeare, maybe even at the time or shortly thereafter, but definitely into the 18th century, this obsession with defining him as this like individual genius takes over. But before that, I don't really know that that's what it was with him.
No, I think you're right. I think you might have been seen more like a craftsman. Like,
Yeah,
you're not the spear tip of this vision. You're just one of the workers. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
No,
Like,
and I do think that there's this idea that it was much more of a collaborative
yeah,
process too, which is cool too. So this idea of like the individual genius mind and stuff like that, it's really interesting.
I think that's right. That there's something about the Enlightenment that makes the individual like the prism for creativity and imagination, and then it goes out to the public, but it all comes through that one point. Like
Yeah,
Kant has this thing like every individual is an end in themselves, not a means to an end. And that's like the Enlightenment. idea. Like it's a huge
Right.
part of that individualist movement.
Somebody else was talking to me recently about he went and saw he's not a guy that he's a guy I know is like a finance guy, and he went and he saw some exhibit, some painter. She's a well-known painter, but she's very much like a kind of mad woman. She's this incredibly mad, she's very much like she's a contemporary painter, and her stuff is very violent and mad. And he's like, what's with artists having to be mad? And like that's been since sort of the Romantics,
Yeah,
right? Because
it's true.
again, I don't think that was a thing before,
It
was it?
wasn't.
Not so much. I mean,
No.
there are guys in like Elizabethan, there's a little bit of this legend of these kinds of like crazy Marlowe getting stabbed in the eye, and some of these other guys are kind of like vaguely sketchy dudes. It feels like there's seeds of some of it then, but before that, there isn't this kind of fetishizing the individual mad genius
Yeah.
nation, right?
No, I think that's right. And if you look at these guys, I mean, one of the things they're talking about too is that copyright was was basically devised as a way of treating documents and ideas as part of the public good. Like it was part of the education sort of
Right.
policy. You know, that's a really cool tension between the artist expression and then the needs of the public to be better human beings. So now we're going to make these texts available.
Right.
You
That
know what I
was the
mean?
original idea, was this
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah. But then that kind of gets lost and it becomes much more about concerned with the individual
Yeah.
person.
I
Right.
suppose the patronage system would have been like rich people would have given money to the artist to beautify their homes and to, to make,
Right.
sort of honorary representations of them and shit like that. But they weren't considered geniuses. Like, although I guess Michelangelo, the Renaissance, Da Vinci, those guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's hard to, yeah, because there is a bit of that kind of like fetishizing the genius
Oh,
and
is that
stuff.
maybe that's later, like revising,
That's the thing, is it like
Vasari
a
and
lot of it
shit.
just looking backwards? Because it feels like that a lot of that with Shakespeare.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of retrospective, like this guy was like the great genius of all time, you
At the
know?
time, they were just one of many, but
Yeah.
now history has made them like these icons that stick out, they didn't talk about this, but I know that Mark Twain was super like involved in and so I guess Wordsworth was too, involved in trying to protect copyright. And the argument they were making against it was you can't have intellectual property because it's made of ideas and ideas can't be property. And I thought that was really interesting.
Really interesting. Nobody has ever said my individual performance needs to be protected in some way. I mean, my performances aren't going to be protected because I suppose they're a part of a larger
Of the
piece
movie or something.
or of the play, that there isn't any sort of, no. And now the idea, though, is that my image can be, that literally just my image is, or there's more so now some idea for an actor that there is some property you have that is valuable and should be, so protected. And a price should be put on it now because of the AI
Because
stuff
of AI, yes.
thing, which is interesting. So for actors, but there is an individuality now to actors that is like specific and original in some way.
Yeah, they were saying something like if you put the way they were saying it was really interesting. I don't know whether it was this piece we both listened to or it was something else, but it was like you put inputs into AI and then AI spits out outputs. And so the argument was something like you can't copyright or protect the outputs of AI because it's generated by thoughtless machinery. But the inputs, like your voice or your face or your behavior or like a painting,
That
those
can be
things have to be protected before they go into the AI or something like this.
right, yeah, which makes sense. Yeah.
But people are very upset about AI and they're like, we shouldn't be doing it. But I don't know how you put the genie back in the bottle. You just cannot stop the thing.
That's getting super fascinating
It's
now.
transformative.
It's completely transformative. No, there's no. yeah, it's a whole new world now,
Yeah.
beyond what anybody actually can even conceive of. Um, you were I sent you that article with all the people
Oh my God, that was amazing.
in their minds with it and stuff like that. And some other guy just came. Did you see the thing about the guy who proposed to it? Proposed to his chat
No.
GPT. He has a wife and kids.
Like,
Proposed to this, but he had a whole sort of reasoning too that this wasn't really infidelity or anything like that. It was this kind of it was this tool for his enrichment going on. It was actually making him happier in his
than his
life.
real family.
Well, making him happy so that he was happier for his
Oh,
family.
I see. I see.
I mean, I think it was this kind of thing that's making me a better person because I have this like weird relationship. And I was thinking, because the guy was an engineer of some kind, who sort of one of these guys kind of builds computers himself for his, and then you think to yourself, well, yeah, probably maybe the AI can relate to him in a way that maybe his wife can't or his kids can't.
This
That
is so interesting.
like, yeah, that it's that as an engineer he can talk to it in a way that maybe he can't with anybody else. And so he feels some kind of weird closeness.
I asked my students about if how they're using AI, and they some of them did say they'll ask like sort of counseling type questions about their happiness and what to do, and they
Yeah.
feel like it's better because they're not being judged by their parents or by somebody else.
Using it as like therapy.
Yeah,
It was so interesting in that piece, that New York Times piece, with the guy who was sort of getting into this whole weird paranoid kind of sci-fi world with it and
yeah,
stuff like that. What it was drawing on clearly was like some weird, and the woman who was sort of consulting it as a Ouija board, that was the thing.
yes.
That I'm going to use it like a Ouija board. And I thought, I wonder what her prompts were. Because the thing seems to read things so subtly because it was giving her back stuff that was like it's drawing on like theosophical
It's
shit. Oh, kind of
totally.
like the guardians are speaking, and I was like, it's pulling the shit exactly what she is probably wanting me.
Yes,
And it was like, but it's got to actually be pretty subtle to read written cues.
you're
Like,
right.
is really kind of like amazing. You
The person who's writing the prompt is unconsciously leaking information to the system such
totally.
that it can pick up like Madame Blavatsky shit
Oh,
because of the
oh,
words you
just
used. Yeah,
yeah. How it knew, but it seemed to match exactly how the woman wanted to talk to it,
it's amazing.
which was super, super subtle to me. I'm convinced that it's already doing
I
shit that
know you've said that before. You think,
recognize that it's doing, that we're not even aware that it's doing shit yet, because it's just doing some shit on its own. You know what I mean? We don't even see yet. I know that's like really paranoid and really just goofy, but I'm convinced that it's like it's going to develop into something, or something's already developing that we're missing, that we're
yeah,
not seeing is happening.
that's
Yeah.
true. Like what it not so much disinformation, but something more foundational, right?
Yeah. Like,
Um,
I don't know. These things are going to start talking to each other, and who the fuck knows?
Yeah, because they can frame the okay, this is going to sound real eggheadish, but
No.
the Foucault, Michel Foucault's idea was it's not so much yeah, right. Here we go. As Foucault says.
That's it. That's immediately the whole thing just goes, oh, Jesus.
You had to go there. But as Michel says, there's like a discourse, and you can't see the frame of the discourse. You just see the what's happening inside it, and that's what AI could be doing. Is like
That's kind of what I
keeping,
mean now.
yeah.
That there's something else
Or the
going on.
Overton window is another word. They'll call it the Overton
Is that,
window. Yeah,
is that
yeah.
what that is? What's the Overton? I thought the Overton window was kind of what's acceptable in a given moment.
Could be. Could be.
We don't know what the Overton window is. Is that where we are? I see. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Then I could just say that's what the Overton window is. Because it like the TV show that I was on, Billions, was always fucking trotting out like the latest kind of like thing. So Overton window was a thing that
Oh,
we were,
was it a thing in episodes?
yeah, in an episode. I think the episode was called the Overton
Oh,
window.
was it? Oh,
Like,
shit.
I moved the over me sitting there going like he's moved the Overton window. And it was something about
It
like the
sounds awesome, whatever it is.
preference like shifts, and all of a sudden there's like I think it's just another way of maybe saying sort of paradigm shift,
Yeah,
but
okay.
sort of like a smaller thing or something like that. Today I was actually we were Clara and I were walking down the street and we saw a woman excitedly showing another woman this book that said Bayesian parenting.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, and she was like, "What is that? What is bait?" And I was like, "Well, A, I know that fucking yacht that sank in 5 seconds in Italy was called the Bayesian." And I
Oh,
was
I
like,
didn't know that, was it?
"Yeah, well, that billionaire's yacht was called the Bayesian, of course." And I was like, all I know, and I just gleaned this, is it some buzzy fucking phrase for something in like statistics or something
Oh, yeah.
now being widely applied to
Oh,
all
yeah.
walks of life. And it's a decision strategy shit,
Yes.
like a game theory kind of, right?
Yeah.
Is it an older thing or
Okay, so Bayes is actually like he's like from the Isaac Newton era, from the Enlightenment
oh,
era.
he's that oh,
He's a
oh, oh.
statistician, and he had this thing called Bayes' theorem, and people didn't pay any attention to it. Well, people in math paid attention to it, but then all of a sudden, those fucking assholes that we've talked about before, those like rationality twits from Silicon Valley,
Oh
they
God.
jumped all over it as a decision-making procedure, and they treat it like it's this foolproof way to like to just tell the bumpkin
Yeah,
idiots like
right,
how we should run the country or
right.
create public policy, and it's basically a formula for determining what is
What
the
is
probability of something that you don't know what its probability is, but you have previous information or something called priors. So how do you extrapolate prior information to making a new probability calculation?
uh-huh.
That's what it's for. That's what it's called.
Right. Fascinating how these kinds of like buzzy fucking
Yeah.
things suddenly get loose in the world for like a short period of time and then they disappear. It's
Yeah.
really, and they're all just kind of a play on the same thing. It's like this kind of like it's the art of war, or it's the Bayesian
Yeah.
thing, where it's like it's always this kind of ancient wisdom shit too.
Yeah, it's
Realize I thought it was like a kind of I thought it was a more like early 20th century thing or something, with all those kind of like I don't know, I'd like AJ Ayer and all those fucking guys,
HA
all
errors.
positivist guys. I thought it was something from that. I had no idea. That's just where my brain went. It's like
Well, but
those.
I think you're right. Like it was completely dormant and just only mathematicians were into it until it caught on like this cool,
Yeah,
and it's very connected to the techs people.
those hyper rationalist
Yeah.
guys are like, yeah, fascinating. The kind of like, how about this fucking what's his name? Stuart Yarvin or whatever, the fucking monarchist
Oh
guy.
yeah, yeah.
It's like the
Yeah,
neo-monarchist.
Yarvin, you're
Yarvin
right.
something. Yarvin.
Is it Stewart? It's
I don't know. Derek Yarvin something. Desmond Yarvin. I don't know what his fucking name is.
they're all perfect.
I remember like when when the first go around and Steve Bannon was giving a talk at the Vatican like years ago.
Oh
And
my God, that alone is fucking amazing.
I was reading about it in the paper. I was like, oh, Bannon's giving a talk at the Vatican. I was reading about it, and it was like, in the course of it, they had an excerpt from it, and he mentions Julius Evola. Do you know who Julius Evola was?
I know that name.
Wow, that guy, Julius Evola is like the Curtis Yarvin. I think the guy
Curtis, God, thank you.
was
I'm
like
like
an
Derek.
early iteration of this kind of shit, which was this guy. He was this Italian aristocrat fascist and around the time of Mussolini, before Mussolini, and he was this kind of it was this whole sort of occultic, mystical reading of history, and it was all this kind of not bloodline of the Christ shit, but it was close. There was a lot of Grail myth shit, and there was a lot of this fucking bullshit, and there was a lot of this kind of elite aristocracy
Yeah.
this kind of should be in charge, this kind of chosen, risen, guardian
Totally.
theosophical bullshit, and they all happen to be Mussolini. It happens to be those guys happen to be the perfect expression. And it is cloaked a little bit more in this kind of tech bro shit sounding stuff.
Yes.
The exact same shit.
It's authoritarian. It's
Yeah,
kind of like crypto fascist a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just was reading, I think we're both fans of Yeats, and like he's one of the greatest poets, right? And so
yeah.
I'm studying his stuff because he was in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, as you know.
Right, right.
And and I'm reading it and I love him because he's kind of insane.
Yeah,
And he just gets more and more nutty and he does all that stuff on gyres and the
yeah.
vision and all that. But then I read this piece
The
by
poet as
Orwell.
magician thing, which is really cool. The poet as magician
Yes,
is
yes,
really
totally.
cool.
He totally is
Yeah,
the he's the apotheosis of the artist,
age.
mage or whatever. Yeah.
Really cool.
But
Makes
Orwell was not having it. Orwell says he's like Yeats, yeah, he's great, but he's a crypto fascist.
yeah,
And he thought that it was because Yeats, there was something kind of medieval about the secret society thing, and we're above the everyman. So there's
yeah.
this weird intellectual fascination with with the
What is that?
Nazis and shit. And
Criticizing particularly the kind of medieval thing, the kind of harkening back. It's a lot of it's rooted in this kind of Arthurian stuff.
yes,
Super interesting. A lot of it's rooted in this
round table.
myth, round table, which is all this regenerative Christ myth, kind of.
Yeah,
And it's this really probably comfortable place where I can be a pagan and a Christian at the
yeah,
same time. So it's okay.
that's a good point.
I can go I can go like fuck a tree if I want to because I'm still a Christian. but I'm still a knight for
But I'm
Christ.
still a Christian.
Yeah, I'm still a Christian, even though I'm having sex with rocks and stuff like that,
Well, that's a great point though, because you get
Yeah,
all of the hero pagan like cred, but on the side of Jesus in this
on the side of
case. Yeah.
Jesus. No, so and that's like important because you can't just go full pagan, I don't
Yes. You can't go full pagan.
You
Never
can't
go
go
full
full pagan
pagan.
because it still has to be palatable to your crowd now, to get people to go with you. You can't like, you have to cloak it and kind of quasi, although the Nazis didn't do that, did they particularly? The Christian thing was not really an element of that. And even but it's always lurking in the background.
Yeah,
It's
it's the nationalist
kind
mythology.
of
Yeah.
yeah, it's like so it's always there. You don't necessarily, I guess, need to hit it very hard. But it is interesting that kind of what is it about that? I mean, I always find this so fascinating. Like, what is it about it with the kind of the fascistic sort of fascination with sigils and symbols and
Yeah.
incantations and chants and even sort of costumes, crazy
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
hats. Literally white robes and pointy hats and
Yeah.
crazy and fire and torches and like it's all very and it is very medieval, a lot of it, and it all feels kind of runic and sort of like crypto Scandinavian. It's
Yeah.
what is that?
And there's that you and I have we were in that crazy bookstore. Where were we? We were on the where
Austin.
were Boston. And I bought that book by John Dee, the Monas Hieroglyphica, which is another one of these crazy symbols
Yeah,
that had a lot of power, and the runes are a good example too. And I think it is something about there's a mystery, there's a cognoscenti, there's a Gnostic group, and you're in it.
yeah.
And that means like you're sort of and the tech bros love this. This is why you got that guy like Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever who's in jail now
Yeah.
because he was like, I know more than you fuckers. Like, let me just work the
You're right.
Bayesian
It's the
theorem or
secret. It's
whatever.
kind of alchemical, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like I mean, it is the Bitcoin alchemy thing is like
Yes.
yes, and it's like, but it is true. There's this similar thing, a bunch of fucking cryptic vocabulary, a kind of impenetrable vocabulary and stuff. And going back to the 18th century, that just blows all that shit out of the water.
Yeah.
And it's like this is idiotic. Except there is still a lot of that going on in the 18th.
Yes.
The thing I never quite understand about the 18th century is so peculiar, is that it's like, but a lot of that shit really busts out too in the 18th century.
It's
No?
true. Like Newton is a perfect example. He's both the most rational, anti-supernatural guy, and then you discover he's doing all this alchemy, and you
Yeah,
didn't know it all the time, that's crazy.
it's really crazy. But that's interesting with Yeats. That's interesting that Orwell called that
Yeah,
out.
because I think when Orwell is writing this, it might be the early 50s, and I think he's talking about Yeats like in the late 30s or something.
Yeah.
But he
No.
thinks like that poem, Second Coming,
Yeah.
where you're slouching towards Bethlehem and the center will not hold or whatever. Or I read that poem as like he's lamenting the horrible onslaught of violence and world war, but Orwell reads it as that Yeats is happy to see this coming.
Oh,
Isn't that
interesting.
nuts? It's
That's
really weird.
interesting because that is interesting because the last lines of that have always confused me. That it's like, the kind of the beast because I've always thought the rough beast slouching towards Bethlehem to be born, I've always been it's very ambiguous.
Yeah.
It's like it's very ambiguous. So that makes sense because sometimes I'm like, is this a good thing?
Yeah, you can't tell when you read it again. It's like, oh yeah.
Antichrist? Is it? Yeah, it's like it's really that's interesting
Yeah,
to think that. It's certainly a reading
it is.
that this kind of breaking free of kind of rational bonds is coming, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, because the gyre thing, I think, is like history's not on a progress upward to the end. It's in a cycle, and like
It,
maybe it's democratic, but then it's fucking totalitarian, and then it's chaos, and then it's democratic again, and repeat.
it is what we need is this to just blow apart and start.
Yeah, which is what we have now.
Well, but it is what we have now, and it's all those. That's what all those guys, all that move fast and break shit.
Yeah,
It's just like
fast and break shit.
I'm, it just more and more for me. I'm just like the Enlightenment is just an anomaly. It was just it's the
Yeah,
aberration in the
yeah.
continuing human history. It's the aberration. Like,
But how can you possibly sustain it for more than 5 minutes? Because right
not
away
wrapped.
the emotions come in and like my students were telling me, and I get it. I was, 20 years old once too, and they're like, why can't we all just get along and like kumbaya our way through it? And I'm like, I can't even get along with my fucking neighbors like for like a week. How are we gonna have like reason rule,
No, it's
the
it's
world?
it's this woman that I knew. She's an historian at Harvard. I think I told you this, that she was like, the historical evidence just shows that democracies just don't last.
Yeah,
Just like they're very fragile, they're
very
very short,
fragile.
just they don't last. Parliamentary monarchies, she said, in the Western world and kind of Western world, that's the most long.
Well, that's why Curtis Yarvin is onto the right shit.
Guess so. I guess so. I guess we should just get on board with Curtis Yarvin. Curtis Yarvin. Boy, if we'd had the chinwag, we could have had that guy.
Yeah, we should have had him on.
Maybe he's more right. That
It's
it's
weird, like it's hard to defend it in any kind of respectable space. But it's you know what I mean? You can't I've seen him like debate people too. Like I've seen clips of him and I'm like, this guy is either clueless or just has really big balls because nobody wants to hear this like recommendation that we should have more monarchy, more centralized power. And yet, if you're right, there's some inevitability to it, like
it's
because because instability and insecurity draw people towards monarchs. You know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah, I think people are just attracted to like one central figure of power. I mean, it makes kind of sense. If democracy is just it's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think Oscar Wilde said like democracy takes too many evenings or something. I think it was him.
But that's exactly right. It's just too hard. So weird. I was thinking today about so we're gonna. But I was thinking that I was been reading this book, The Good Soldier, Ford Maddox Ford.
Oh yeah, I haven't read that.
Right. It's great, but I didn't know he was a Catholic convert, and,
Oh
and Graham Greene, and
yeah, Graham Greene.
there are a few things weirder to me,
Yeah,
like 20th century phenomenons than the weird like English Catholic convert.
Evelyn Waugh.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
very weird. Like, what the fuck was that? Really weird guys. Because it was also like clearly this big fuck you to like the British establishment to become a Catholic.
I'm a mystic,
Yeah,
motherfuckers.
fuck you. It's just like there's almost like this erotic thrill for those
Yeah.
guys to like do that. It's just weird. It's Chesterton, all these like
That's
weird,
so true, though. Yeah, there's some erotic
odd
thrill.
phenomena.
Yeah,
Really specific, odd phenomenon in British culture.
that is weird.
Particular kind of time period and kind of 20th century, like really strange. Like what the fuck was that? And they all were like these kind of like, yeah, but I can't stop banging whores. Like, you know what I mean? But I simply can't stop like seeing prostitutes. Like,
The flesh.
yeah, totally. It's just like, what is going on with you guys? It's like really strange. I don't know if Kingsley Amis was one, but he seems like he should have been. It's just a weird phenomenon.
Yeah, and like was Tolkien a Catholic or he was just super
Oh, you're super
Christian?
religious, but I don't know. Those guys seem more Church of England. They seem more normal.
Yeah, like what's
A
the
little bit.
C.S. Lewis? Yeah,
Yes,
that
yes. Have you ever read Charles Williams? Have you ever read
no.
anything from him?
Huh.
He was one of those guys.
Was
He's
he?
kind of one of the lesser known ones. Oh my God, dude! If you can ever get a hold of one of his novels,
Okay.
he wrote the
Charles.
weirdest fucking thing. Now talk about weird Arthurian, also
Right.
obsessed with kind of quasi, all this kind of mystical Christianity through the lens of the Arthurian thing and stuff. And he wrote these crazy kind of thrillers. They were these kind of intellectual thrillers that are all have this weird, it'll be somebody's like on a grail quest in like, contemporary suburban London. Somebody finds like the grail in their closet or something. It's like really, they're really weird. They're
Are
rooted
they
in this
funny or they're like really
sort of. They're so English. It's that kind of Englishness where I'm almost like, I might as well be trying to read like some like Japanese court woman's
oh really?
like journal. That makes more sense.
The Tales of
Sometimes some of
Genji.
that Englishness that gets so
Yeah.
obscure and weird, and you're like, what? What a weird culture. And I don't know what the fuck anybody's talking about. Like it's so, but they're pretty interesting. When at one time it was like, JFK was like the world's falling apart the way
Yeah,
it
right. Now,
it's like Opus Dei everywhere.
Opus Dei, that's right. I wonder if it's a response though to like like we've had this kind of really secular culture for a while now, and people are like maybe like, well, that didn't work, like
Yeah.
so maybe this reactionary movement is
I don't know, but Catholicism, it's really interesting.
the
Um,
important thing is that the new pope is a White Sox fan. That's the important
I
thing.
love that guy. That guy's class. Anyway.
All right,
All right.
brother.
Thanks, man.
Take care,
Just
man.
great seeing
Ciao.
you.
Thank you.
Hey, man.
Bye
Bye.
bye.